Crafty Peeps! Today is a trash to treasure. This is my first video like this, so you'll have to let me know if it's something you're interested in. But I just took some pieces of trash and turned them into some cute decor. So let's get right into it. For this first trash to treasure project, I'm going to use all of these paintbrush sticks. So I use a lot of these from Dollar Tree and other places, and they don't last a long time, maybe a couple applications. And so when I'm done with them, I have just pulled out the top, tossed it, and held on to these handles. And I just knew one day I would come up with a project for them. So I've been throwing them in a drawer. And then this collab came along to do trash to treasure. So here we go. And then of course this is just a can. It was a can of green beans. And I'm just going to glue these sticks all the way around the can. And as you glue them on, you do want to pay attention, try to make sure that they're straight up and down as much as possible. And then you also want to make sure that it's flush with the bottom. So like if you're setting it on your desk, just give it a little press down so you know it's all flush, because you want this to sit, you know, without being crooked or what to one side or anything. So just again, make sure that you do that. But usually once you get one on there, it's pretty easy to put them all the way around. So I got this from Catch, and what it is it's like painter's tape kind of, and it comes in these big sheets, it comes in bigger sheets, it comes in smaller sheets, it comes in like a tape size, and it's great for painting. So like let's say you were painting a bedroom, and you know how you'll set like a drop cloth or something down below? Well, you can peel and stick these to the floor, and they come up super easily so that if any paint drops, that's where it goes. And so I got some of these to try to put down on my table when I am crafting and when I'm painting. And it's just an easy cleanup. So it's just as easy as peeling and sticking it down. And now I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum chalk paint and linen, and I'm going to cover the sticks and the can. And I'm going to be really generous with the paint. I want it to get down in between each handle. And so I am just like gooing it down in there, and then I'll come back through and then give it just like a nice clean wipe with the brush so that it's not like chunky in any spots. So I'm just going to do that all the way around.
Driving down the road that I grew up on once again. It's when I pass your door, the memories come back again. Pictures of us flooding back just like a wave.
I'm also painting the inside of the can just at the top so that when I fill it here, if there's any showing, it won't look like can. And now that the paint is dry, I am going to take some of this, you can't really call it ribbon, but it's this roll of chicken wire that I picked up from Hobby Lobby, and I always pick up this stuff at half off, and it's gonna last me a long time. I wanna say I probably spent about $3 on it, maybe even less. But I'm just gonna cut a strip to fit around the container here, and because it has just like a little bit of wiry edges, I can just bend them around each other when I wrap it all the way around. I hope that makes sense. So I don't actually have to use any glue or any adhesive.
Makes me wonder what happened, what you're up to today. Remember when we stole your mother's car, we drove for days.
I'm going to take some of this gray gingham or buffalo check, whatever you want to call it, ribbon, and I'm going to put it just around the top of the can, so it's that space between the handles and the can.
Too many feelings and rage. sky. I remember thinking if I only could stop the time. Way back when we
And now I'm just going to add a little simple bow to the front.
didn't care what they said. People could stare. I didn't give a damn, 'cause I was being next to you. Way back when we didn't care what they said. People could stare. I didn't give a damn, 'cause all I needed was my friend. Way back when. Way back when. Way back when. Remember when my father taught us how to play guitar?
Okay, so now I'm just going to drop some floral foam in here with some greenery. And you could use this as a pencil holder, really whatever you want to use it for. I love to have little vase type things with greenery in it to add to my decor. It definitely just adds something. I could put it up on a riser, I can stick it in the back. I have a lot of greenery pieces like this that I really think add to my decor, my setups and everything. And then just to, it was wiggling a little, so I'm just gonna glue the bottom here down in. And then just to cover up the floral foam on top, I'm going to use some Spanish moss to fill in those spots, and then it's done.
In my garage, we thought our dream would take us so far, but after a week or so it all just fell apart. But we were higher than the ceiling, middle fingers to the sky. I remember thinking if I only could stop the time right now.
This video is a collaboration with some amazing other YouTube creators. All you have to do is go down in my description box and hop on over to the next video. And if you'd like, you can keep on hopping all the way around. And I bet there is going to be some amazing projects. I have not got to see them yet, and I'm excited to watch. So I hope you will go and give these other creators some love and tell them you came from my channel. This is a really easy trash to treasure. I purchased something in this cute little town called Jacksonville, Oregon, and it's this little rusted wire. I just thought it would add to some projects. And oh my gosh, the store was the cutest. Yeah, it was only $2.95 for this. The store was so cute. Anyhow, this is how they packaged it up. This cute bag, which yes, I'm gonna DIY with, and this tissue paper. Oh my goodness, I was so in love with the tissue paper. I wanted to buy more from the store just for the tissue paper. In fact, I looked it up on Amazon and I found something really similar to this tissue paper. And so I will link that down below if you want to get something like this for yourself. It fit almost perfectly in this tray. And this is a tray I picked up from the Target dollar spot last year. I got 2 of them. And one of them is out on my porch on a side table, and it's where I keep sunscreen and bug spray and all that stuff, and it's held up really well. So I've had this other one, not quite sure what to do with it. And so when I started thinking about how did I want to use this tissue, I didn't really want to cut it up. I was trying to think of how could I just keep it without, putting something on top of it and hiding the pattern. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I will Mod Podge this to the bottom of the tray, and it is going to look so cute. And I just have to trim it down barely. It's almost the exact size. And I will just Mod Podge it down in that tray, and then I'm just going to add some buffalo check ribbon to the handles, and that's it for this trash to treasure. I just think it took that tray to a whole nother level. So as you can see, I used a very thin layer. Didn't want to get this too wet. I saw somebody use this technique, and I don't remember who it is, or I would tell you, but using a little bit of saran wrap over the top of the tissue will help it so that it doesn't rip and that you can smooth it out. Because if you were to smooth it out right on top, it would rip the tissue. Actually, I remember who, well, I don't remember her name, but it was somebody I had never seen before, which is why I'm not remembering her name. But I saw her do it. And I was like, that's a great tip. And it really did work well. It helped get wrinkles out, and it's still just a tiny bit wrinkly, but nothing that bothers me. Like I said, once I get all that down, I'm just going to add some gingham ribbon, and the project is complete.
Down the road that I grew up on once again. It's when I pass your door, the memories come back again. Pictures of us floating back just like a wave. Makes me wonder what happened, what you're up to today. Remember when we stole your mother's car, we drove for days. Teenagers with too many feelings and rage. We were higher than the ceiling, middle fingers to the sky. I remember thinking if I only could stop the time. Way back when we didn't care what they said. People could stare, I didn't give a damn, 'cause
I had a lot of fun with this DIY because I had a little bit of a vision, but I wasn't sure exactly where it was going to end up. So I'm using this pretzel container, and I'm going to cut a hole here down the bottom, and it's going to become a bird's nest. But it's not going to become like a real bird's nest. It's going to be a decorative one for inside your house. And like, so you can see here, I am just going to cut the hole. Okay, and now this is a book, literal trash, because I found it in the trash can. I was putting something in the trash, and the book was sitting on top, and apparently my husband didn't want it anymore. As I'm flipping through the pages here, I'm seeing these amazing numbers for the chapters, and I'm going to set those aside for another DIY because that is really cool. Anyhow, I'm just going to rip out a bunch of pages, and I'm going to use them to decoupage all the way around this pretzel container. And then once I tear out some pages, and I'm going to tear them in half and tear them into some pieces, and then I'm just going to start Mod Podging them down onto the container.
middle fingers to the sky. I remember thinking if I only could stop the time. Way back when we didn't care what they said. People could stare, I didn't give a damn, 'cause I was being next to you. Way back when we didn't care what they said. People could stare, I didn't give a damn, 'cause all I needed was my friend. Way back when, way back when, way back when. Remember when my father taught us how to play guitar, and we started up a band in my garage. We thought our dream would take us so far.
Okay, so I have the whole container covered, and then I just cut out a circle and added it to the top here. And you can decide if you want to glue this down or not. I decided to glue it down. I couldn't see a reason why I would need to take the lid off, so I went ahead and glued it down. And then I'm going to take some of this nautical rope, and I'm going to wrap it all the way around a couple times, and then I'm going to wrap it around on top of the container as well, because you can still see some of the clear top. So I'll just go ahead and glue that around.
But after a week or so, it all just fell apart. But we were higher than the ceiling, middle fingers to the sky. I remember thinking if I only could could stop the time. Right now, way back when we didn't care what they said. People could stare, I didn't give a damn, 'cause I was being next to you. Way back when we didn't care what they said. People could stare, I didn't give a damn, 'cause all I needed was my friend. Way back when, way back when we were higher than the ceiling. Middle fingers to the...
And now I'm going to grab my Waverly Antique Wax and my chippy brush here, and I'm going to get a little bit of paint onto the brush. I'm going to tap it off. I don't want to get too much. And then I'm going to distress around this. I start really light. I prefer to start light and build. And so I know from this view, it looks like nothing is even going down onto it, but I promise it is. And I just keep doing this all the way around until I get the desired look.
Driving down the road that I grew up on once again. It's when I pass your door, the memories come back again. Pictures of us flooding back just like a wave. Makes me want...
Now I want to make some book page flowers. So I grabbed my flower punch. If you don't have one, no worries. You can draw one out, print one off your printer, and then just trace around it. This particular flower has 6 petals, and so see that I want to remember. And so I will take my scissors and I will cut one of the petals right here just down to the center, and that's it. And then you just take those 2 petals and you put them on top of each other, and it gives you a 3D flower. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down, and you can use any type of glue. I just thought it was fast to use my hot glue, and I use the tiniest little dot because that's all it takes. Okay, and I'm just going to make a bunch of these. And then I'm going to take that brush that I used before with the same antique wax, and I'm going to go ahead and go around the edges of the flowers. This is going to really make them pop.
Today, remember when we stole your mother's car? We drove for days. Teenagers with too many feelings and rage.
Now that those are made, it's time to decorate the front. This is a piece of greenery that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. Gosh, it's been over a year. It's been sitting in my stash. So I can't remember how much it costs, but it's a really nice piece. And so I'm going to bend the bottom there. I want it to kind of have an angle to go around the hole. And then as I get it placed there, I will go ahead and glue it down.
The ceiling, middle fingers to the sky. I remember thinking if I only could stop the time. Way back when we didn't care what they said. People could stare, I didn't give a damn, 'cause I was being next to you. Way back when we didn't care what they said.
You'll see me switch back and forth with glue guns. Ever since getting this fine tip one, I'm finding that I use it a lot more. Both of my glue guns are from Surebonder, and I really like this fine tip, but sometimes I want to put a lot of glue down, and so that's when I use my other one. It's the regular size one. And so they're just sitting right by each other, and I just turn them both on, and then I can use whichever one I want. And since they're both cordless, the cords don't get in my way. So as you can see now, I'm just adding the flowers around wherever I think they're going to look good. And yep, I'm just going to keep adding them. I just think this is turning out so cute. I think that greenery just does it. So again, I got it at Hobby Lobby. I hope it's something they still have. It's a really good piece. And it has kind of that lamb's ear like type, but it's not. I like the little like what you would call those, kind of like the beans. I don't know. You guys, I don't know. Do not know my plants. I cannot have real plants. I look at them and they die. So I can't tell you much about them. I am adding these 2 leaves here from Dollar Tree. Their new laser cut leaves are everything. Look at how good they look to this project. And they have, one pack has 3 different leaves, and then the other pack has another 3. So they sell 6 different leaf types. And these these buttons are also from Dollar Tree. I had to pour the whole container out because I needed one more light colored one, and of course it was at the bottom. So I'm just adding the different brown colored beads to the center of these flowers. This is a lot of beads for, why do I want to call them beads, you guys? Buttons. These are a lot of buttons for $1. See, I wanted to call the beans beads and the buttons beads. I have beads on the brain for some reason. Okay, I'm just going to add a little bow here. This is just a little simple bow that I made. I'm just going to add it to the top. And this is something I picked up off Facebook Marketplace. It was a big old Easter lot, and this little nest was in there. So I thought I would add it in here, and I'm just going to put a couple green eggs. I want to keep it fairly neutral. And that's it. I made over this container.
Driving down the road that I grew up on.
So Facebook Marketplace is one of my favorites. I get so many awesome deals there. Somebody was giving this wood away. I got 4 of these. I don't even know what they were for. They look like maybe they were the top of something at some point. But I got a bunch of other scrap pieces too. So people are giving away wood. I'm going to take it. And I've bought some as well for really, really cheap, but this one was free. So I took these 2 pieces and I put them together, one upside down, and I'm just wiping this down. It has been sitting in my wood pile for a while and has collected some dust. I'm just going to take my wood glue here and glue these 2 pieces together. I did let this dry overnight. I saved this as my last project of the day so that I would be able to come back to it the next morning. And it is nice and secured together. And so once that is all dry and secure, I'm going to cover it in my Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen, of course. Now I thought about putting some wood filler in this in the center there. It's not perfect. It's not perfectly flush, and I thought it kind of gave it some character, so I didn't do that. And then I kind of decided that if I put a lot of paint in the crease, it actually smoothed it out. So I just put a lot of paint right in that little crease part. And I'm just going to coat this all the way around, and I do believe I put 2 coats. I wanted to make sure that this was nice and smooth because I am going to put a vinyl decal over it. And so I just gave it a good overall sanding. I will say it got very dusty. It was very dusty. And then I decided just to rough it up in a couple places just to give it a rustic look. And paint was actually, for 2 coats, was pretty thick, so I really had to get down in there. Okay, once I've distressed it, I wipe it down again with a very, very damp cloth just to make sure everything is good. Now, I ended up being out of vinyl. I couldn't believe I didn't have any black vinyl left, but I had some of this Stencil vinyl, and I've never used it before, and you're going to see me use it probably in all the wrong ways. I didn't use transfer tape, and I'm thinking as I was doing this that maybe I was supposed to use transfer tape still, because some of them do have little centers like the E's. So if you've done this, let me know was I supposed to use transfer tape to put it down? I found it really difficult to put down. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've done this wrong. I've seen other YouTubers do it and apparently forgot the steps. So this was my attempt, and it actually came out. It was fine, but I always have to do it the hard way the first time. I don't know why I didn't just go look to see how it was supposed to go. Also, this, I didn't even know I had this. I'm pretty sure this vinyl is 10 years old. It might just be. So anyhow, I lay it down, and then I'll use my little pouncer sponge from Dollar Tree and some black Waverly chalk paint, and then I will put all this down. And so I've always thought I like the look of the paint on there because it looks more genuine, I guess you would say, whereas like the vinyl itself can kind of have a shine to it. But I will say I find that the vinyl is way easier than stenciling, but it just depends on the extra step you want to take. So I was a little nervous, you guys, but here's the thing. I felt like if I totally messed it up, I could sand it off and repaint it. So don't stress, because if you do that, you could always start over and go to the store and buy the black vinyl that you're out of, and you'll be good. And so when I peeled it up, I did not wait till it was dry. I do remember hearing that, to not wait till it's dry, to do it while it's still wet. And then there was just a couple areas that had a little bit of a mess up, and I was able to fix those pretty easily. I guess I should mention why I chose this saying. I saw it on a sign at Hobby Lobby, and I was like, I have to make a sign. I do have a blended family. I have 2 children from a previous marriage, and then I remarried, and we had a child, so we are a blended family, and I just feel blessed. We feel that our blended family is very blessed, and so I definitely wanted to put that on a sign. And I showed my husband, and he was like, oh, I really like that. And so that was really neat. Please excuse the crazy hair that keeps just coming into the screen there. Apparently I had a crazy hair and didn't know it. And then the way to get out the centers, like with the little E's, and I think it's also in the S's, is I just took some tweezers and I pulled those out. No, I didn't take tweezers. I took my little poker tool. I can't find my Cricut one, and I know that one's just a little bit better because it's a curve, but this works too. This is the little tool from Dollar Tree. So after I get this all, these little pieces taken out, and I fix up the little errors, I just thought it was really plain. There was just, it needed something else, and I wasn't quite sure. I didn't want to overdo it. So I went into my scrapbook stash, and I went into the rub-ons because I wanted to kind of keep the same look. And I found these like squigglies and lines and everything. And so again, these are probably 10 years old too. So they might even be older. So I found 2 that were alike, and I'm gonna go ahead and add them to the top or bottom. So you take off the backing if you're not familiar with rub-ons, and then you just lay them down and you just rub down on top of them. Kind of like those little temporary tattoos you put on your kids. And I just have this little tool that I've used in my scrapbooking years. You can literally use your fingernail, you can use anything that's kind of a flat, and you just burnish it down here, rub it down. And I am like super, like, I get a little crazy. I probably don't have to rub it as much as I do, but I want to make sure every little part goes down. And it's so satisfying pulling back that tape on top and revealing what you just put down there. And so I'm going to put it at the top and the bottom, and then the sign is done. That's my sign. I'm pretty excited with the way it turned out. And it was pretty much a free project other than, using some stuff out of my stash. That's me dancing that it came down good. Or it peeled off right, because you never know, it might not all be on there. So there it is. Those are my trash to treasure projects. I hope you enjoyed those. This was my first time trying it, and I had a really good time. And I hope you will stick around for the next video. If you liked this one, please hit that subscribe button And until next time, happy crafting.